Welcome to this Sunday Gospel reflection. I remember being with Mother Teresa whilst giving a retreat to the sisters in Rome. We often discussed things and exchanged our thoughts and experiences, and once after a meeting with some important and very wealthy person, right in the middle of the vegetable garden in the sister's house, she came up to me and very simply shared with me her conversation with the man. You see, Father, this person offered me a big sum of money to help with our work with the poor. But he told me, Sister, you should not use the money straight away. First, put it in a bank, and then just use the interest you will get from it from year after year. Like that, you will always have money to help the poor. I simply refuse to accept all that money. Mother Teresa continued. You see, Father, I want to be as free as a bird. They do not reap or store grain, but are happy to depend on the love of our Father in heaven. On that day, I understood the radical difference between authority and power. How hard it is for us poor and small-minded humans to distinguish between the two. It is not power that gives authority, because that would mean that might is right, which is the way of the evil spirit, the way of the world. The way of the good spirit is an authority that has the real power to change and transform humanity. In spite of his very good intentions, that rich man reasoned in a very human way. In his mind, a constant and secure supply of money would give Mother Teresa the power to fight poverty and pain. For Mother Teresa, what comes first was not the power or the money, but first comes the love that makes her share the pain and the suffering of the people. Her action needed to be grounded in sharing the poverty of the people, and her choice to totally depend on God's love. For the rich man, money was the source of power that can do good and be used for the good. But for Mother Teresa, God, who is love, is the source of all real good. The rich man thought he could change the world with the power and his money. Mother Teresa spoke with authority as someone who gave up her life out of love for Jesus and the poor. She knew that only love has the power to change the world. Just like Jesus, who spoke as one having authority and not as the scribes, as we find and we read in today's Gospel. Jesus spoke in the name of love, while the scribes always spoke in the name of the power they wielded as leaders of the people and experts of the law. Where did the authority of Jesus' words come from? Well, very simply, first because his teachings came from the heart and not just from the head. Second, they focus on the spirit and not on the letter of the law. And third, they bring about a positive and real change of heart in those who hear the words. Jesus did not just know about the Father or about the people. He knew them through a real and intimate relationship. He was one with the Father. By his incarnation and suffering, he became one with the people. His perfect love of the Father, the life of the Father, and his perfect love for the people made him share the pains and joys of the people. The scribes and the Pharisees, they knew the law, but they did not know the one who made the law, and that is God. They were experts in religious customs, regulations, but did not know the pain, poverty, struggles of the people. The teachings came from their heads, while Jesus' teachings came from his heart. Jesus spoke with authority because he highlighted the spirit of the law, whilst the scribes and the Pharisees spoke of the letter of the law. Jesus invited the people to love God with all their hearts, all their minds, all their souls, whereas the scribes and Pharisees insisted on people observing the details of the law, paying the contributions for the temple, observing the number of steps allowed on the Sabbath, following the purification rites, and so on and so forth. Well, for Jesus, what came first was that the sick are healed, that the hungry are fed, that slaves be freed. The Sabbath was made for man and not man for the Sabbath. That's the difference between Jesus and the scribes. Jesus spoke with authority because he wanted people to change their hearts and not just their behavior. What comes first for Jesus is the life that people will start to live, the new and real life, free from fear and free from the evil spirit. What was most important for Jesus was not the amount a rich man puts in the temple's collection box, but the immense love that the poor widow put in offering that small little coin, which was all that she had to live by. Speaking and acting with authority is having the freedom to acknowledge and to live by the truth. Jesus lived what he preached, but he preached what he lived. It is this authority of authenticity that will overcome and cast away from our hearts the spirit of evil, envy, jealousy, pride, anger, revenge, greed, hate, discrimination, the works of the evil spirit. And in this gospel we see a confrontation between the spirit of good in Jesus and the spirit of evil in the afflicted man. No, evil will never be overcome by sheer power. You tell me, which prison has rehabilitated any criminal? Which legislation has ever made people pay VAT and taxes willingly? Which wardens have eliminated dangerous and inconvenient parking? And which war has brought lasting peace among humans? And, let's say it, which fear of hell has changed a sinner into a lover of God? It's not chaining the beast or locking it up that will save us from its evil and destructive power. It can only be the beauty deep in the heart of every beast that we are when we are far away from the Spirit of God. The truth in every sinner's soul, the authority of God's own beauty in every human being that will finally transform humanity and overcome evil in the world. Going back to Mother Teresa, she was so free as to let her life be guided by what she received and not by what she achieved or what she possessed. Because of this, like Jesus, she spoke as someone having authority. Like Mother Teresa, let's not live by relying on what we can grasp, what we can achieve or possess, but only by freely and joyfully accepting what we receive and freely giving it and sharing it out of love with those around us. Only this freedom will allow the tremendous power of God to humbly and silently transform humanity into His own image and likeness. This is the authority of Jesus, the authority of truth, the authority of goodness, the authority of holiness. If we humbly and lovingly accept it, then we will be at peace with ourselves. And if we are at peace with ourselves, then we can lovingly do what we can with what we have. We will then be at peace with God and with those around us. This is God's way of overcoming the spirit of evil through the small things that we do with great love, as Mother Teresa used to say. Yes, the big struggle in our existence, in the world, in humanity, is the struggle between good and evil. Who is going to have the last say? It is the spirit of good.